Welcome to this episode of Pen to Paper Press Podcast. I'm Cindy Kochis. There's a backstory weaved into each book. To explore the creative journey, I'm sitting down with authors, writers, editors, publishers, and an array of creative souls to have a conversation centered on how they develop their stories to completing their works of art. Each episode is an opportunity for us to explore mindsets, pearls of wisdom, and the experiences that set us on the creative path as an author from the moment we put pen to paper. Bernadette Bruckner is internationally active as a holistic trainer in health, nutrition, and mental health. She is a speaker and is currently working on a PhD in health framing. She is the award-winning author of First Aid for the Soul, a first aid kit for psychological self-help, Marketing Impulse of Tomorrow, Disrupt Everything, and that's just to name a few of her titles. Welcome, Bernadette. I have been looking forward to this conversation.
Welcome from Austria. We are the country with no kangaroos, but we have the Mozart, we have apple strudel, and that's my country.
Yes, I've been there. I love your country. I love the landscape. And I'm not even sure what year it was. It's been a long time. My babies were babies at that point when I was there, and absolutely loved. What I loved were your castles and just the history of the landscape. So I am curious, though, because I only named off 3 of your book titles. Mm-hmm. How many books have you written?
I have to count on my own, but it's.
I like your answer.
Because in some books I'm only a co-author.
Okay.
And in the other ones I'm a publisher, because the book series First Aid for the Soul is with other authors, and I'm the publisher and also the author. And the other ones I'm only the author. And last year it was actually my aim to publish in all three parts in more than 20 books, but too much work. There were only again over 10 books, and this year I'm a little behind. I'm serious. It's just too much work. But in pipeline I have more than 20 books, and I get my inspiration when I'm doing sport, when I'm traveling. Mm-hmm. So I seriously, I stopped jogging because I always got so creative that I came back home with a book inspiration. So I stopped sport and do COVID-19 also traveling. And I built up a whole team only to get my books out faster. I have so much ideas how to bring it truly from pen to paper, that I usually actually should have no time for work, but I still have to work, and therefore it's over 20 books.
Wow.
Some of them I do revivals, so because they're coming either new ideas in it or new authors, where I feel it's good when I update the book, because the methods, I don't want to say old-fashioned, but I have new methods who fit better to this target group, to this book.
Mm-hmm. And with your accent and the fact that you're in Austria, my assumption is your books because I looked on Amazon, you have a couple that are in English, but the majority of them are in German, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay.
At the moment, yes, but I actually, because I have one little booklet series I call the 50 Shades of Uh-huh.
I love the title.
And it's I have a YouTube video series to it, and I have so much fun with it, but there's so much research actually behind and so much meaning behind, but it's just as more as it's fun, as more people can take it. And this booklet I have translated in over 13 languages. So if I would have more money, I would translate way much more of my books. but the primary language is actually German and English.
Okay.
And my aim is, because I usually support women mompreneurs and students, and my biggest aim is actually to bring at least the main languages out with my books. But everything takes a time. I'm actually a solopreneur with a little bit too much companies and too much different stuff to do. But that's me. That's just me. And for me, it's like everything has its own timing.
Yes, everything always has its own timing, and it's not always up to us to determine that timing.
No.
Patience is a gift.
Yes. Oh, yes. And the interesting part is sometimes I write the books, especially when I'm a co-author, in English. Mm-hmm. And lucky me, I have someone who translated also my articles, who just correct me in a British English. And this is something very good. And sometimes I truly don't have the words to express it the way I love to express it in what I do in German.
Yes.
For me, it's very, very important to have the right translators, not translated word by word, but with the meaning. And this is something which is more challenging, in my opinion, more challenging than one-to-one translation, because in my former companies I also translated, but for me it was always very, very important that the meaning keeps the meaning.
Yes, and the emotion, because the emotion comes through, as you said, through the dialogue, or with the different phrasings, and the way German is spoken and the way English is spoken. There are different meanings for the same words. And so, yes, having that, those editors and those translators helping you so you convey the message. That's such a powerful tool.
Yes, it is. And sometimes I have also the pleasure to translate English books in German. And for me, it's very, very important that the meaning and the emotions, as you said, are kept in the book. And sometimes we just say it a little bit different.
Yes.
And this is for me, this is actually a challenge, and that's why I go a little bit slower, but I want to go with the right people and with the right translators.
Yes.
Because for me, it's just a huge difference. And I can speak English, French, and I understand Italian and all the things. But for me, it's just very, very important that the meaning is just kept.
Oh, I was going to ask you how many languages you spoke.
Before COVID or after COVID? It's like sometimes for me it's like I feel I have Alzheimer because I cannot travel that much anymore than I used to before COVID-19, and sometimes I'm like it's just like I forget so many things. Truly interesting.
And it is.
It's just I usually it always depends on the different levels of speaking and understanding, because for me it's a huge difference for understanding and reading.
All right, Bernadette, come back. Can you hear me? Hey there. I wanted to let you know that Bernadette and I experienced a little bit of technical issues, and our call was, frozen. Then we disconnected. We reconnected, and then we disconnected again. But the really interesting part is, later on in our conversation, you'll find out why our call experienced the issues that it did. All right, let me get you back to the show.
We will get this podcast done.
We will. We are two determined women.
Yes.
And it wouldn't, because it was saving the first recording, because it completely dropped my connection. I can't log back in because it was saving. So I'm sitting there watching the little bar go across the screen, and I'm like, come on. on, hurry up.
I know that, so no worries.
Oh, so, maybe we should just assume that part of our conversation was completed. We got through all of that. One thing that I noticed, and even though I can't read the titles on your book, many of the books that I was able to find, they have hearts on them. And to me, of course, hearts means, when I see them on a book cover and it coinciding with the images that how you have the book covers laid out, to me, it symbolizes love and soul and intuition, that mind-body connection that we have. So is that, because again, there's the language barrier, but to me, that was the message that I got from your book covers. How close am I? Is that pretty much what your books are about? Is that mind, body, spirit connection? Oh, how wonderful.
Yes. My core value of everything what I'm doing is security, is caring, and is loving. And for me, I love books. I read a lot of books because I just love them. But there's one thing what I miss the most. When I finished reading, I have no idea how to implement it in my daily living.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my books are actually working books, with hands-on methods, with something what you can learn for yourself quickly, and also teach others, especially children. Because one of my biggest goal also, of course, with my PhD research and studies, is to raise the health literacy.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And this begins with the heart.
Yeah.
This begins that you feel your body again. And this begins also that you connect yourself with your soul. And there's one little secret I want to share with you and with your listeners.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm not good in writing. But most of my books are actually channeled. So they are intuitive written. And most of the books, I always say, and also when I'm also creating resilience methods for different target groups, and also for burnout and everything else, because my life story is kind of interesting and where definitely a kick-off for the person who I am today. And most of the books, and they were just there. Especially the one with the terminal care.
Yes.
After my auntie died, I channeled this book within 3 hours.
That's beautiful.
And I'm serious. In my opinion, I don't have a gift for writing, but I do it because I feel those words have to go out there to the world.
Bernadette, I, as you're saying this, I just absolutely have chills. I mean, my whole entire body has lit right up with this information. And isn't it amazing when we allow ourselves to be that conduit from our heart, to express our heart, and to be open to sharing what we can accomplish? It's so beautiful. Yes.
I have times when I begin to write with the intuitive writing or channeling, however you want to call it, I cry.
Oh, yes.
I cry because those words are so beautiful. And also that, especially the one, I have it in two languages, in German and in English already. I call it pure loving is your new fingerprint.
Oh, yes.
There were so many channeled information in there where sometimes I said, no, I can't go out with this book. This is I don't know, probably other people will kick me because it's just too, I don't know, too positive, too loving, I have no idea. But there was fear behind. And that's why what I said before, every single book has its own timing.
Yes.
Even I asked the book how the book want to get out in the world with the marketing. I created I don't want to say created, I just did it actually out of fun, as usual. And I said, I asked the book, every single book has a different energy and therefore a different target group and different purpose, different visions. I have no idea. Yes, but I just asked the book, how do you want to get market from us? And who should be in the book, especially with the first ad for the soul? I ask because it has a different energy. And that's, for example, with the second edition of the book, first ad for terminal care, I knew that I have to put in more people. And all of them came into the book, and the book became a different energy field. Mm-hmm. I even asked every single book if it wants to get translated or not, and if yes, which language. And maybe some listener out there call it crazy. I call it connected.
I have spoken with several individuals on this podcast that shared very similar experiences as you. They channeled in this content. There was the doubt. Am I, what am I doing? Do I really want to go there? Am I ready for somebody to criticize me because I wrote this book? And one young gal, she did have family members that were not happy with her book because it talks about things that they don't believe in. That it's, I'm going to put words in her mouth, and I don't want to do that. But anyways, that's not the intent of sharing that information. But they were unhappy with her. There's something that magical is the word that comes to me. There is something so mystical and magical that happens when we acknowledge that fear and we say to ourselves, let's do it anyways. What's the worst that can happen? And that's when it just kind of, the dominoes, the puzzle pieces come together and the right people show up.
Yes. And the interesting part is I always say I'm pregnant with my books.
Yeah.
And I'm not writing one book after one book. I'm writing different books at the same time. And some books, like the book I published already, it's about Disrupt Everything. I know the book is not finished. And sometimes I just have to give it away. And when the time is right, then I begin to write again. Mm-hmm. And this is so interesting because I have now, for example, the feelings I have to make a break from work, only to finish a couple of the books, and then I can go on again. And especially the book about eating disorder. Every single time when I worked on the book, I was crying because I felt, and that's why I wrote it with wonderful co-authors, I felt this book will support so many people. And it took me, by the way, which is very unusual, one and a half year to finish it.
So what is your usual rate for publishing or for writing a book, not publishing, but writing the book?
When a single book, when it's me, I had, for example, for the booklet what I have here about the title is Chill In instead of Burnout. It took me because I have someone who makes the cover and also that it looks nice and everything. It took me a couple of months.
Interesting.
And I could do it faster, but I don't want to pressure my team members because I'm so happy that I have them.
Yes.
And as you, I'm a very impatient person. I'm way much better now since I'm 40. But for example, the other ones, I have 3 books in pipeline. I know they should be out there, and they just don't wanna.
Because it's not time. It is not time for whatever is happening. It is.
I have such a wonderful book about learning for the kids and also for the grown-up, that they support the kids in a good way. So it's a flip book.
Oh, neat.
And this book is just sitting next to me for months. And I think nearly every day I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I know you have to go out there. I know you have to go out, but I don't feel it yet.
You know, when that happens, oftentimes you haven't experienced something that you have to experience that will be contributed or added to the book content.
Exactly.
And so how neat, you have something yet to experience that will be added to it.
You remind me of something, because that's truly for this book, and I have to truly write it down because it's about concentration. And I learned something what I truly can contribute to this book, because I have such a wonderful book cover. And for me, it's like I have a huge team. For me, it's always important, again, energy of the book. And there are some, I have, for example, for the book cover, I have 4 people to choose from, because not every single book wants to have the same book cover creator. And for me, the best example is the first ad for with the eating disorder book. I always knew a woman has to make the book cover.
Oh, that makes sense.
She did such a beautiful work. No man, and I'm sorry, man out there. I love my man. We're doing the other book covers, but for this book, the energy is female.
I was going to say it's probably, and the person who did it, and of course I don't know this, they have a close relationship with it, whether it's themselves or a close friend or a family member, but there's a good chance that person has a very personal connection to it, and that's why. And it may not even be that it had to be a female. It had to be that person.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And it is again energy.
Yes.
And that's one of many reasons why I go with my book sometimes very long pregnant. That's how I always say. It's the same with projects. I have some projects who take a little bit longer because when I actually should sleep, I work on the project and also on the books. And I get now my inner pictures or from wherever, and then I know the book is time to go out for it, and it's time that we go on with it and with different people. For example, I also not only have different people for the book cover designs, but also for the inlet, to make the inlet. I have 3 different ones. It's the same with different logos and everything, what I'm creating. When I don't have the right person yet, I know the person will come.
Yes.
Sometimes faster than I think. And it's like ordering to the universe. And there are a couple of wishes what I have for years. There is one person who is always on certain conferences and who is selling books. I said to him, I think it was more than 10 years. I said to him, one day my book will be on your shelf for selling. I did it. Because
Yay.
every time when I saw him, I said to him, one day I'm coming to you. I think at least 5 years, because it was always in my vision. It's the same. I know because I'm a huge fan of Barnes and Nobles, because I was in America. And I always, when my book will be at Barnes and Nobles, then I know, for me, it's like, now I can retire because I did my dream thing.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to retire.
No, I don't have time for it. But for me, it's so, and for everyone, there's one sentence one person told me on a conference. Actually, she was on stage. She told us, all of us, on a conference for authors. And she said to us, don't you dare not to publish, because you never know who you can inspire, or also saving lives when you go out with your story.
Yes.
And I was like, oh dear, I have to do it, because I'm actually an introvert person. For me, going out with the books and becoming visible is actually tough. I had to do, I'm still doing a lot of mindset changings, only to go out with the books. And for me, it is always clear. That's why, for example, my book series, First Aid for the Soul, has their own website, because they have their own energy, and therefore they get their own way, because it's not about me. These wordings, I don't want to, sometimes I have the feeling they only want to get born, and they do their own thing, like children. They do afterwards their own thing.
And they have minds of their own.
Yes, it sounds a little bit spooky now, though.
Do.
But it was so interesting. For example, I always knew I want to have my own marketing book. I wrote one. It's out there, only in German, with a wonderful woman, which was actually my teacher at my university, but it fitted so perfectly together. And now my marketing book career is over, because this book just wanted to be out there. I also created cards for it with a game to use way much more the book, because the book is also a working book.
Okay.
And it has also a resource page, an online resource page with different interviews. But this has the whole effect. Now we are doing something that's becoming more visible in the marketing scene and everything else. But this is something what she is doing. Sometimes I don't want to say help others to bring books out because of my knowledge, but also I know the wordings has to go out there, and then my job is over, something like this. And someone else will taking care of it. This is something what I feel a lot. This is so interesting.
Well, and it's also putting it out, well, like you said, you're helping somebody somewhere with the information that you have. And, it is a priceless gift when we channel in that information and we share that information, because if we channel the information in and just keep it for ourselves, what happens to the channel? It stops, because we're not doing what we're,
our work.
We're not doing our work. Yeah. And oftentimes when we channel that information in, we have to share it with whomever it's intended for, and they'll find it. They'll find the information. It's not for us to put it in their hands. They'll find it and then move on, because, there's something else I need to work on, which is exactly what it sounds like your books do, because like you mentioned several times, they all seem to have, the different series have their own personalities, their own value, their own reason for being out there. And if you were to withhold that information, I mean, for one, I don't think you could. I think
lucky us all that you don't see my room, my working room, because I have so many books, and some of them I have written and then it stopped.
Yes.
Because I have to do a couple of research, and also with my PhD, because it has to come information in there and all the things, and also experience and working with people to get more know-how in this field. I know that I have books in pipeline who we truly support many people if they wish to. And also I'm creating a whole new healthcare system.
Wonderful.
I wrote 100 pages because I just finally, sometimes I don't find my stuff because I'm moving, but I found it again. And now I gained through the last 2-3 years so many more insights that I can work on the healthcare system itself again, and therefore also on the book. Because for me, the last 2 years was for my PhD work and research, what I do for over 10 years. A field research, what was once in a lifetime. Because it's about health communication. It's about health framing. It's about how we perceive conception and information, how we work with this information, and what it actually does with our body, soul, mind, and also connection with others. And even when it was for us all a shocking time, there's also was a huge chance in it to create something totally different. Mm-hmm. And for me, book writing is not about just a book. No. There's so much work behind. There's so much meaning behind. There's so much, I'm serious, there's so much work behind. Even when the book looks so easy cheesy, and also the method so easy, there's so much research in it. Yes. And so much also science, and so much working with so many people to break it down, to make it so easy. And for me, bringing something from pen to paper is a process.
It is. It's very much a process. And what's really interesting is, so when I sat down and wrote out these questions, and actually, truly, only asked you really one that's on my list, but the one that I wrote, and in brackets behind it, I wrote the word goosebumps with 2 exclamation marks. So here's the question that I wrote. And it was, and again, I channel in these questions. I've learned that I don't plan for how the conversation is to go. I'm not to direct it. The conversation is to direct itself. And rarely do I, the questions that I write are shared, but this one I'm going to. Excuse me. When did you realize that the pen is a tool for unlocking the heart, mind, body, soul connection?
1 second, I have to check it. I think it was truly on the conference when I was in London, where the person on stage said that, don't you dare ever take yourself back and not publishing. Dare to publish, dare to share your story, dare to stand up, and it's not always being a lighthouse, but just stand up and talk about your story. You never know who you can inspire. And that's what I always said. In my opinion, I'm not a good writer, but I'm still doing it. And everything, someone is mastering something by doing it. And I always say, every single article I write, and I truly begin, I could write way much more, nationally and internationally, but I'm serious, I don't have the time for it, but I have the chances. And yes. And as more as I write, as more as I write from the heart, as more as I, what I always did is perceiving everything out there and just want to bring in more inspiration and seeing everything different, also bring in solutions, because my resilience methods are methods, really are hands-on methods. But explaining something is for me easier than writing down. And yet, if you trust yourself, you can bring it down from pen to paper. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was, I nearly died 4 times, by the way.
Really?
And one other very occasion, I still have no idea how I survived it, by the way, is my car accident 2015. I had a really bad car accident. The car was totally broken. I was on the highway, hit by a truck.
Oh, wow.
And I got out of the car without any scratches, without any traumatas, nothing. And I still have no idea how I could survive.
Wow.
But there is one sentence I sensed was, no, you're not going this direction, you're going the other direction. And for me, not being allowed or not having enough money to bring out my books faster than I love to is heartbreaking. And I dare, because of all the occasions what I went through, I dare to publish. And if others don't like it, it's okay too. But for me, it's just I publish because I feel I have to publish. And it's intrinsic. Yeah. It's not something, I do it because I want to become the next, I have no idea person. Because for me as introvert, I was like, I don't want to.
I don't want to be seen. Don't let me be seen.
You get my books, but don't leave me alone.
There's a lot of people that are going, I hear you. Oh, Bernadette, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. You're not alone.
And yet I write daily. For me, it's like, it gives me so much pleasure, even when I know that I'm not perfect, whatever that means, by the way. Right. But for me, it's like every single day I work on different books. Sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes longer. Mm-hmm. And some works, what I know, I just don't like it. Like bringing the book into a nice shape that we can publish it. I found others who like it.
Because it resonates with them and it doesn't have to resonate with you.
Yes. For me, it's more important to bring the words down. And seriously, I have so much stuff out there who is not published yet because it's I don't know yet where to bring it in which book.
Right.
It's not that I don't have the words already, but I have no idea in which book or in which sense I have to put it together that it makes sense to the people who are not in this topic.
Yes.
Because for me, of course, it's totally, I know what I'm writing. Well, but sometimes not the other ones. So,
but you still do it. That's the key.
Yes.
So then I want to make sure that I got this correct from what you had said earlier. So you created your own publishing company for your books.
Yes.
Was that a decision that was, and listen to that throat chakra going really tight. So there was something in there for me to work out. Okay. So with your decision to to create your own publishing company, was this an easy choice for you, or was this something that you really kind of like, do I really want to do this? Should I just hire, like a hybrid publishing company, or should I seek out another publishing company to do this for me?
Mm-hmm. There are actually very rational reasons that I have my own publishing house. first of all, I have all my rights.
Yes.
So whenever I want to edit something, or whenever I want to bring it in other languages, I choose, and not a publishing house, another one. Secondly, there are some books I have in pipeline I truly want to publish with a publishing house.
Okay.
Especially with my NLP book. But they have their own rules. And for me, I hate to depend on something or someone. I'm a Leo in the horoscope. I hate to depend on someone. And I was lucky enough, by the way, to find a self-publishing house, what I can work together to bring also my book to, for example, Barnes and Nobles, which is not quite easy.
Okay.
And for me, it was always, I don't want to only sell on Amazon, because in Austria, Amazon has not the nicest, I don't know how to say it, but
reputation or
reputation. Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it was more important that we find different ways to still get the books out there. And again, my vision is I want to see my books at Barnes and Noble. I would probably freak out and have a breakdown, whatever, but I want to see it.
You know, Bernadette, I'm going to be, we don't have a Barnes and Noble nearby, but when I go to one, I'm going to be looking for your name. And if I find it, I am going to snap a picture and I'm going to email it to you.
Yes, please. I will scream on the computer. And there's other, and for me, it's like, it always has a reason. I don't only feel that I'm a lucky person because so many people are coming to me who's supporting me, because I know it's just guided. Yes. The self-publishing house, what I'm working with together, can publish more than 10 languages, by the way. Not all languages I'm using, but many other languages as well. And secondly, they don't charge anymore since 3 months. Usually I paid for publishing 180 euros. That's nothing. That's nothing. They don't charge anymore. So for me, money issue is not an issue anymore for publishing. So someone out there, just hear me, and they know the books has to go out there. Yes. So I can publish way much more, way much faster. And I don't have to or can concentrate with a couple other things for publishing where I truly need also the money. And that's so interesting. So everyone out there who believes money is an issue for publishing, no.
Trust and believe.
Yes.
Oh, I needed that. I needed that very much to hear that.
And again, I'm asking the books. I'm only the one who gives birth to the books, because I know they have all a mission and a vision. Especially in COVID-19 times, I gave away for free my basic book of the First Aid for the Soul for all that who the shelter houses, because the domestic violence raised globally.
Okay. Yes, it did. During COVID, it did. You're right. It did.
And I said, people, I have to bring out my books. And I shared a lot of times. I also supported someone in Africa who wrote a book about suicide. And I said, I want to, I just do it for free and translate it in German. As more people as we reach with our work, as more people we can save and support.
Yes.
And there is another book, and for me it's so interesting because it's just every single book what I write, every single book I publish, there is a process in me going on. Because some things I truly feel I can put into words, only on written words, what I of course can explain in German and English when I explain it to another person.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the next steps is also getting a person who translate my body language and everything what I'm saying into wonderful words. and especially because I created a method where we can support people who have addictions.
Okay.
I created the methods where we can get rid of the addictions. And for me, bringing that into words is not quite easy.
That would be very challenging. So when you're talking addictions, is it focused in one addiction, or is it in actually
It doesn't matter.
I was going to say, it's just coming to me that it really, an addiction is an addiction. It doesn't really matter what the addiction is. It's
there again, there's so much science, so much work behind for many, many years. And I just want to break it down in a very simple methods. But most of the time, I truly raise the health literacy. And sometimes finding the right words for it, especially in a foreign language, because English is a foreign language for me,
right,
is kind of challenging. Even when I was already on conferences with it, the only thing what I perceive, yes, I know it works. Yes, I have to discuss afterwards with neuroscience and all different people, but I see that it works. But bring it into a book, into something what I can bring out and feel that it can support people is quite challenging. So, and for me, author is not always an author, but it always depends on the topic, and on sometimes I don't have the words yet to bring it out the way I want to bring it out, that finally into a book.
Yes. And having the language barrier does pose a challenge, but and the grace of all of this is the fact that you are waning and allowing that right person to again appear and help you out. And at least you're accepting, well,
Yes.
That sounds really horrible. You're at least that you are allowing those people to help you, when for so many of us, accepting help is not easy.
Mm-hmm. But I teach it with other women, by the way. And for me, it's like, I'm so grateful for every single person who supports me on this mission, because when I began with it, I always felt so much alone. And I said, no, guys, I can't do that alone. This is quite too much for me. Please bring me the right people to the right time, from the right place. and I'm, for every single person at the moment, I have kind of a team, more virtual assistants, but kind of a team of 20 people. And they love what they are doing. I love what I'm doing. So when everyone is loving what they are doing, it can't only blossom up everything.
Yes, agreed.
And for me, it's truly, I'm so grateful, and it's such a relief knowing that I'm not alone with bringing out the books. And I trust in every single person I choose that they doing their work, what they should do, and they do.
Yes.
Even when some other people telling me afterwards, and serious, I have that, you can't use this book title, you can't use this book cover, you can't use this book size. I'm said, I give a shit what you believe. Sorry for the wording.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
For me, it's like, that's my vision. That's how it feels like. This book feels right. Maybe it has not yet the right timing. And I give you the best example. For COVID-19, we truly began to bring the first book series into companies. They said to me, we don't need that stuff. It's about health promotion or corporate health. Then COVID-19 came. We were just ahead of our time.
Yes.
And this is so interesting. I don't know how is it in your country, but in Austria, corporate health, where that we have to look on our health, they begin now the feeling, yes, it's a good idea that we look for our people who work in my company, because when they are not there for different reasons, it's not such a good idea for our company. And that's truly interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say you're correct, because how people, well, in many aspects, how people look at their health is much different than it was 3 years ago. This is a great place for me to separate this conversation with Bernadette Bruckner. We had a very long conversation, and all of it is valuable. And why not break it into 2 sections? I would like to thank you for listening to Dare to Publish Part 1. To access Bernadette's website and purchase the book she has written, visit pentopaperpress.com/podcast and select the show notes page for this episode. Be sure to listen to Part 2, where we will discuss some of the blessings that came from COVID-19, what fear is, the mother-child bond in life and death, and, is it possible to build an empire with one book? To receive future episodes in your inbox, subscribe to the Pen to Paper Press newsletter and follow the Pen to Paper Press podcast on social media. Take care, and until next time, keep your pen to paper and write. Your words have power. Your story matters. Bye for now.